Hi everyone, welcome to a new video, and I want to show you two lots of books that I made for Etsy. And so this is, I made these three because people wanted them back, but none of them have been ordered on custom order, so they will be on Etsy. So this is the copper factories that I made before, but I made before a horizontal book, sort of long, landscaping, and now it's A5. So I'm gonna show what the cover is like, and then inside. So it's painted with oil and acrylic paints, and it's solid. There is few layers, and it's varnished with like a wax finish varnish, so it's like a matte, sort of smooth. Here is old French letter in metal tin. This is a stencil. They are stencils. This is a lawyer's stencil, I think. Underneath, it's a piece of solicitor stencil from with the Gothic letters that it used to be used for headings of contracts and things. It's made out of brass, and here we have a rusty piece of metal that I found and varnished, and it's all glued and connected with these brass bits. Closure is Tim Holtz brass knob here, and here we have the outlines of the rusty factory buildings that I love so much, and loads of texture in the paint as always, and stitching. We have 7 signatures. Here we have some corrugated cardboard that has been decoupaged with prints on tea bags and tissue paper of ferns. And here we have a layer of vintage lace, rusted, and a layer of cotton that has been printed with Queen Anne's lace seed heads. That is about 5 centimeters or 4.5, 5 I would say, and it's quite rustic and full. So this is a calico cotton that I used. I rusted and then used the batik technique and dyeing to achieve this crackle rusty black effect, industrial sort of effect. Here I cut out a copper factory from copper piece, and I put patina on it. I aged it, so that's what that's supposed to represent, with handmade caddy paper, glassine paper, hand dyed, old map, vintage pages, Irish page. This is all vintage from very old book written in Irish, Gaelic. I don't speak Gaelic. Nobody around me speaks Gaelic, so I don't know what it is. Here we have vintage plant pages, a vintage book about animals, so some reading, another Gaelic page. This is a drawing paper, heavy, coffee dyed, vintage map. I love maps, as you know. Glassine, and I made lino cut stamp of this oak seedling because they are everywhere, and I love how oaks and all other seedlings grow even in industrial places when the places were abandoned for a long time, how the nature takes over. So that represents that to me. This is a batik technique calico So wax and then dyeing and ironing, and you know, it's a whole process with crow factories and crow, and I love the crackle effect. Pocket, music page, vintage check page with plants, vintage moths, hand-drawn moths with Indian ink. So loads of vintage book pages, my usual ceramic bead finish on the signature bindings, and loads of original art. Here we have a negative with a woman that I stapled on there. I find it interesting, and a little textile print. So original work and vintage book pages. No copies, no cheating. This is the other side. This is ink drawing on caddy paper that I did of some factories. This is a very old dictionary page. I found that in Belfast train station. It hasn't got a date, so it's before 1860 maybe, or 1860. There is a rule when something hasn't got a date, and I spoke about it here before, it's before 18 something, but I don't know what. So but it's old. So I made a collage from these pages. So I think these are Irish music instruments, but also other countries' music instruments. Yeah. Vintage bird page. We have about 200 writing pages front and back. Vintage bird print. Beautiful, these book prints. Another Irish page. And the back of the collage, this is Czech. This is a dictionary page and a vintage map, or maybe taken from a London map, I don't know. Here is original vintage label that was used by chemists. I had few of them, so I stuck one here for arsenic. We have the factories again, the ink drawing that I made. Then we have a vintage map front page, London. Vintage Britain map, very thick. I love the colors are only blue and red. Music. Oh, this is a print that I made a stamp for. I carved these Beatles. So this is the print I made from that. And I decoupaged some tea bags on the handmade paper and sewn red, stitched red through it, just because I thought it looks great. And you can stick things there. Everything is stitched on a sewing machine. And this is vintage, actually very old bird book. This is that sort of chalky finish print. And this is the writing about that bird that is here, with like a beautiful letter sort of design here. So this is about the dove. And the back pages of it all. And here is a case for Kodak negatives, vintage case. When negatives were developed, they would put them in wallet like this, so you can put something in there. And here is a vintage photograph of some people having get together on corrugated card. Here is a rusty calico with print, gel print that I made. That is made into a large pocket and another pocket here. I think this is a map of Scotland, which is very old and also very good quality. Glassy paper dyed with tea bags. Mushroom page. Vintage cookery book page. And another from a book like The Bird is this ivy print, also that chalky vintage print. And here we have ivy and another sort of like beautiful design on the letter. And here I made this pocket print on this sample fabric. It's a curtain sample fabric. I have this big sampler book, and this is a batik calico rusted with the crackle effect, and I sewn it, and it's a large textile pocket sewn on this caddy paper, and a map of UK with some cookbook paper here glued on it so it holds together, and a print of moths. That's my own design and stamp as well, and a phone book page, Beatles page, vintage plant page, and vintage green map, green and beige. I like the colors. Wage, this is a wage bag. People used to get paid in UK and Ireland in bags like that, and the bags are still being made, so maybe people still get paid in cash. I have no idea. I have never got paid in cash. Phone book, little collage with a little vintage photograph. I love the edges on these vintage photographs, the wavy edges. This is a collage I made. I embroidered this map on this canvas, simple map of factory buildings and a little lake and a road, and the pocket goes all the way back, but it's sewn here with red stitch with this print of fern. This is an eco print that I made of phragmites, the grasses in the river where I live near. I live near Shannon, so that's the grasses that bloom every July, and if you print them when they bloom, they bloom purple and they print this beautiful green. So I still have few left from last year and probably do some this year because I love it. A vintage book page with some, I don't know, header maybe. Beatles. Let's see anything. Vintage cookbook. Phragmites. And a moth that I use the batik technique to draw this moth, and I wanted it like this. I didn't want it detailed. I just wanted a just obscure moth silhouette. This is leather, but it's recycled leather, as in I found outside charity shop, I found an old briefcase, and I took it apart, of course, and used the leather, because when it's outside charity shop, it's not even for sale. It's to be chucked out. So I saved it, reused it, so that's that. Then I have this one with end, and when you keep opening this, just do it carefully before the leather lets go. You know how leather stretches, so one day it will be really easy, but at the moment it's tight because the holes are new. I made little slits there, so it's easier, but just I don't think you can rip that out. I don't think so. but you know, just in case, be careful with it. So we have another brass stencil, another French stencil. I don't know if this one's French, but this one is, with ant, rusty piece, the back, and very similar stuff inside. The Kodak pocket is yellow. We have the hand painted moss, we have the oak, we have the copper factory, the pockets, fragmite, and the moss. So yeah, and this one has X, and here is the brass with O, a large rusty piece, and the back. So that's the 3. And now there is 5 ones that I never done before, and they are sort of quilted. So I will explain the cover. The cover, another recycled leather strap. The cover is, it's got 7 signatures, and this is rusted linen, Irish linen, that has been rusted, printed, and then layered on a piece of wool, you can see the wool here. It's like a thick woolen blanket it was, that I cut out into pieces and made stuff out of it. So it's real wool, and it's sort of like spongy now. It's like quilt. So you can see how I embroidered the beetle, how it sort of sits in. Some bits come out, some sit in. It's like 3D sort of. And then the beetles I then cut into the fabric, and I put underneath it a rusty sort of lace beads and sewn around it. So it's like a 3D quilt textile work, and then embroidered the legs, the heads. Some bits are embroidered, some are not. Inside the horns, here it's a stag beetle. So yeah, and this is Tim Holtz knob, and this is a door plate for a keyhole, obviously, but it's vintage. I got 6 of them from France, rusted ones. And why I put it on here? Well, because you could sort of think about it as secret garden, so that's the door to it. But I don't know if I should say this. You know how in autumn or winter or any other day of the year you find like a beetle or an insect in your house? And I live on a first floor, and I'm like, how? Why? And I think they must have come through the keyhole. But it's impossible because I don't have a big keyhole there. It's just a normal modern key. I just don't know how it happens. So I just thought about that, and I thought, yeah, that's how they go to the keyhole. And then they go in. I don't know. It's just, you know, ignore me. Maybe it sounds absolutely out there. But yes, that is my thought process. So there are 3 beetles on each cover. Here we have lace, rusted lace on the edges to give it a little bit more interest and just make it prettier. We have batik inside, different sort of pattern, but still crackle and rust, calico. We have 2 pockets here. I sewn that one to that one. So 1, 2. This is hand drawn beetle by me on handmade paper. It's the Scotland map again. Check book page. The previous books were more concentrating on the people and things people do, like cooking and the photographs of people, and you know, I don't know how to explain more sort of about the humans. This is more about the nature. So we have the bird vintage page again with that nice design on the first letter. So we have cuckoo. And we have pink and green, a little bit more spring. This is the stamp I made for these books. This is another batik piece. It's a moth or butterfly here. And yeah, it's more colorful. It's just a paper for writing. We have yellow bed straw. That's another vintage. That vintage book page and write up about it. Glassine, and we have these pink and green papers to be more spring-like. This is a corrugated cardboard that I painted green gold paint, big pocket, and another here that I printed this plant on. I printed on this caddy paper these ferns, and then that's my Beatles stamp again that I made. The phragmites, grasses, grasshoppers, some nests. It's more all about spring, this one. Was that a vintage Enid Holden page? Yes, it was. So that's that as well. Here is a collage, textile collage with branches that I printed over it, that I made into a pocket. Stamp, my own stamp on this book, on this phone book. Beatles. Another Enid Holden page with lily, wild arum. And then we have these beads that are more like orange and yellow, sort of cheerful colors. The factories had more blue and orange to reflect the rust. Beatles, beautiful, love their antennae. I made a stamp of my favorite crow and stamped it here on a tea bag with a really thick card. So the sun came out. I hope you can see it. And this is hand-drawn beetle with Indian ink and jelly print on tea bag sewn to this 640 GSM card again, really thick caddy paper, handmade paper card. Check plant page, tea-dyed yellow paper. Oh my god, I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, this is a textile pocket that I made from calico that I rusted and then did my batik technique with the crackle. All stitched, beautiful bird print. And my stamp of the oak seedling. Another batik grasshopper on linen. Here is a little pocket that I printed on textile, and I painted this with red, sort of earthy red ink, hand painted. This is a copper cutout. I've cut this from copper, and I forced the patina on it with vinegar. That's why it's green and coppery and looks vintage. So that's a moth that I obviously, if you can't see it's a moth, then I shouldn't have to really, it should look like a moth. Yeah, that's what it is. I hand dyed this caddy paper and use it as a pocket. It's a very flat pocket. I actually have these little cigarette cards. They are very old. I got them in Belfast, and I wanna put 2 in each book, so I might as well. They are birds. Might as well put them there. And I also, oh, glassine paper that I dyed earthy red. Oh yeah, the sun gone. Another Enid Holden spring page with bluebells. Little tiny collage that I made, painted, sewn, printed. Just why not? And Beatles stamp, that's another Beatle I made. Oh, and I made this new stamp as well, which is a dragonfly. And I printed it with textile color, so it's solid. Well, we're never gonna wash it, but it's a textile color that can be washed. And these are some grasses, water grasses. So that's where we usually find dragonflies, in the grasses near the river. And it's a canvas and it's a large pocket, glassine. And this vintage map, I picked this beautiful bright green. I thought it goes with the spring. And some bulby vegetables and flowers. And here we have a map of my area where I saw wren. So I just tea dyed some canvas and embroidered this map and wren on it. And then we have this one. Everyone is different. Oh, I didn't tidy these threads. I will. So these Beatles we have with the long antennae and the stags, and yeah, and Goliath beetle. Love it. With different lace again, and we have everything again. Everything. Oh, no. That needs to be put on properly, glued. What happened? Nothing. Oh. I need to attach that better. Anyways, it didn't fall off, it's just detached itself. Nothing that can't be fixed. That we have the hand drawn. Everything is different, like every book is the same, but all the art is different, especially the handmade stuff. I don't like doing the same thing. So we have this. And leather is again recycled from something leather that I had or found. So it washed and cleaned and balmed. I have a leather balm that I put on it, but it has marks because it's vintage and patina. What do we have here? This one. Moth. This one is a bit light. See how this print is dark? This one is light and pink. This one is more red and yellow. So lots of embroidering and quilting, and quite a lot of handwork. And then we have this one, which is yellowy, rusty and pink and red. Love these long antennae. And everything you want. 7 signatures, about 200 pages front and back to play with. And these in every book. And I also have cigarette cards for the factories books, and I will show you which ones. These are these men, funny man. Musical Friend, Mr. Snodgrass. We have this. Oh, this one's funny. This is a judge and some guy with a beard. Keep this one for later. And we have these two, Tony Waller Pick Papers and Dombey and Sons. Maybe they are real. Maybe they were real one day. I don't know. You can Google it. So they will go into the factories. So thank you for watching. It's been long, and they will be on my Etsy. So if you want one, go there, buy one. Thank you so much.